Schools across India opened their gates after the summer vacations. But for parents who were at loggerheads with schools, the fight against an arbitrary fee hike continues. Across India, 69% of the schools have increased fees by over 10%. Nearly 100 parents from Bengaluru's reputed Global Indian International School say they got no intimation from the school about the arbitrary fee hike.
In the last 3 years, if you look at it, on average, there's been an increase of 1 lakh.
We made 3 attempts to meet principal in group, but every time we were told that only 1% or 2% can go inside and meet him. Last year we met the country head and the principal and the office of management, but there was an assurance that it will be consulted with the parents before making any hike. But so far this year also they deviated, they didn't consult us and they just hiked it just before opening the session.
Even as parents cry foul, the country head of the school in question says they haven't broken the law.
In single digits, 6 to 9%, max 9%, and not in double digits as you are saying.
The plight of parents in Delhi is no different. Parents claim the fight has cost them their child's education.
Approaching schools, they are saying it is clearly mentioned that you haven't paid fees. I am sharing this situation with all these schools. They are saying they are clearly denying that they are ready to take the admission of my daughter.
In Mumbai, close to 100 students have been expelled from Universal High School in Dahisar. The school management has asked them to leave the school because their parents refuse to pay the hiked fees. But our relentless coverage forced the government to take note.
State Education Minister Vinod Tawre has confirmed to Mirror now that he will make sure that the 82 children who were expelled from Universal High in Dahisar do not remain expelled and they are taken back. He's saying that the state education officer will write a letter to the school management in which he will categorically state that checks worth 7.5 lakh rupees should be taken from the parents. From this 5 lakh rupees is the amount that is in tandem with the fee last year, and the remaining amount, which is 2.5 lakh rupees, would be kept in an escrow account. Parents will be able to withdraw this amount once the state education department comes on a conclusion and comes out with the amendments in the Fee Regulation Act 2011.
Parents across India have been protesting, and despite assurances from the government, schools blatantly defying the government's order. Will the government finally act against them instead of offering the customary lip service? Mirror Now report.
Well, this is the Urban Debate. I'm Faye D'Souza. We're coming back to this story because of government inaction at the centre and at various states. We've been talking about this now for 2 months, highlighting to various governments that action needs to be taken before the school year begins. And we've seen, despite the fact that Prakash Javadekar, the Union Minister of HRD, back in April, on the 29th of April, made a statement saying schools should not be allowed to hike fees in the manner that they're hiking fees right now. No action was taken by the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Schools have now begun, and we're noticing students across the country are being expelled because their parents have actually stood up against these fee hikes and said that enough is enough. Remember, parents are protesting across the country. This is a national issue. And every time we take this up, we have a representative of the government who turns around and says, of course, we'll take action immediately. But somehow, nothing has happened. It brings us back to the same thing. If no action has been taken up till now, this basically means that another year will go by without schools being held accountable at all. On the show with me this evening, Niranjan Shetty, spokesperson of the BJP. Rajeev Katial is the country head of the Global Indian International School. Firoz Bhakt Ahmed is an educationist and a teacher. Avisha Kulkarni is an advocate and an activist in this particular manner. Biju Nambiar is a concerned parent from Garodia International. Anindya Dey, a parent from the Global International School in Bangalore that was protesting today. Neeraj Bhatnagar is a parent from DPS Ghaziabad that's had a problem as well. Aashish Naredi is a member of the Hyderabad School Parents Association. Just to prove to you that the problem is completely nationwide. I want to go first to Anindya Dey, who joins us from Bangalore. Mr. Dey, what is the problem that you're facing in Bangalore right now, and why were the parents protesting? Did you get any sort of response from the school?
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, to talk at a national level. This is really an... Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to talk at a national platform. This is really an issue that has become a national crisis as such. And the primary concern for us as a parent for this particular school was the hike that was made very recently with very, very short notice. It was about 2 to 3 weeks before the school had opened that a generic email was sent to parents about a hike that would be observed in the school fees. However, not enough details was furnished in that email. Now, when we had seen the hike that was put across different grades in the school, it ranged somewhere between 10 to about close to 30%. And this is between standards that I'm referring to, as students are moving from, say, an upper KG to class 1, or say a class 5 to a class 6 kind of a movement. Right? So that has been our primary concern. We had tabled that with the principal of the school at least on 3 different occasions. We had also shared with him the petition on change.org that we had filed jointly as parents of the school. We were promised that there would be responses provided by the country head of why this or how this hike has really happened, and what are the opportunity to roll this back. However, with our follow-ups, we have not seen any respite, and hence we decided to hold a peaceful protest in front of the school today that you had covered.
Right.
The other thing to notice around
since you told me, Mr. Dey, that you went, you expected a response from the country head and received none. Rajeev Katial, who's the country head of Global Indian International School, joins us right now. Rajeev Katial, do you want to respond to what Anindya Dey just said?
Correct. So first of all, I think there is some misinterpretation on the fee hike. The first thing is the fee hike, if you compare with last year, class to class, is just 6 to 9%. And it is in line with the increased facilities and the increase in operational costs. These fees have been visible on the website of the school for quite some time. What happens is the parents are supposed to get the invoices 15 days before the school starts. That's what I think the gentleman is referring to. At no point of time have we gone in for the kind of fee hike of 10 to 30%, which is being talked about. The hike has just been 6 to 9%. The data has been shared with Mirror now. It has been shared with the parents. And number 2, we are open to any kind of dialogue or discussion. The parent has been in touch with the principal, has been in touch with the parents. There's no issue about continuing the dialogue and discussing it in detail. But I'd like to repeat here that the hike is in single-digit percentage and fairly reasonable given the increased operational cost. Not more than that.
So tell me something, Mr. Katial, when you say increase in operational cost, what are these operational costs and facilities that you're providing right now at the school at this increased price?
See, there are 2 aspects to it. The first thing is the increase in operational costs in terms of teacher salaries, in terms of facility management expenses, in terms of things like academic operations which happen over there, in terms of increased lease rental expenditures. These are all costs which private, unaided or self-financed schools like us incur, and which increase every year. The second thing is we have been adding new facilities like a new middle school block, a host of new labs like the IT lab, art and craft lab, dance lab. There's a new multi-purpose hall coming up, a new swimming pool coming up. All these are additional costs which come to the the owners of a private unaided school. And because these costs happen, we are forced to go in for a single-digit percentage fee hike, which I think is reasonable. There's no attempt to go for a 10 to 30% hike as is being talked about. There's a question of the interpretation of data, which you're open to discuss with the parents. Our doors are open, and we are ready to discuss. There is an increase in facilities, and there's a definite increase in costs.
Anindya Dey, if you want new swimming pools and you want new facilities, why aren't you prepared to pay the higher fees?
Can I respond to that, please?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, sir. To your point, firstly, as parents, we are really looking at child moving from one grade to the other, right? So when we are doing our comparison, obviously, it is between a grade to the higher grade, to the next higher grade. And I'll give you some data that is right in front of me, sir. As you have said, that it's only a single-digit hike. Now I am looking at data based on what parents have paid up till now. In the year, between the year of 2014 and 2015, the hike between nursery and KG1 has been in the order of 17.71%. The hike between KG1 to KG2 has been in the order of 8%. The hike between KG2 and grade 1, sir, has been in the order of 21.15%. Our kid doesn't stay in the same class, sir. You know that very well. Our kids are moving upwards only, and obviously that cost is what we would account for. So with all due respect, these are the numbers that are provided based on correct figures, based on invoices that has been generated by the school.
All right, I want to bring in the rest of the panel at this point. All right, I want to bring in the rest of the panel at this point because I want to see where everybody else stands. And Niranjan Shetty, I point out to you that this, as you know, is a problem that we've been attempting to address on this channel for over 2 months. We repeatedly get similar answers from members of the government saying we're looking into it, but nobody is taking a stand. What is the government afraid of? Why won't the government send out an order preventing schools from increasing fees from last year's fee until the government has had its time to, make its decision?
First of all, you need to understand that you must be aware that the Honorable Minister of the State, Mr. Vinod Tawde, has categorically mentioned that the steps that he would be taking about the students, those who were expelled from the universal, especially if we are focusing and discussing on that particular issue. Apart from that, right, people like Katial, who has come out with such kind of institution. Now, I would like to add one more thing. Because of such people, our Honorable Education Minister has stopped giving such kind of new schools, opening of new schools. Because of people like Mr. Katial, who's been coming out with such kind of, schools wherein the parents cannot afford, or they're coming up with the main concept of the teaching, not of the swimming pool, as you rightly mentioned.
No. I'll tell you what I've been mentioning on this. The problem is the lack of schools. The problem is the heavy competition that parents have to go to in order to get a seat. So denying permission to schools is not the answer. Regulating the schools is the answer. But why is the government making these knee-jerk reactions instead of actually approaching it in a systematic way?
But as per the norms which have been laid down since years, now, as per this thing, once we give the NOC, we do not have any authority to intervene into that. Yes, there is a School Fee Regulation Act is there in place. That's what I'm trying to say. The School Fee Act in its place. So the Parent Teacher Association can go to that committee. Now, that is the judicial committee where the chairman is the ex-magistrate himself. So all this can be discussed there, and whatever the decision can be taken, it can be implemented. Yes, as far as our government is concerned here in state, we said an amendment to that would be there in effect, but of course when the session is on.
When will the session be on?
Of course, the next session, whenever it will be there, we'll make the amendment. The previous government has come out with such kind of regulation. For that, an amendment needs to be moved.
So how many sessions have we had, Niranjan Shetty, since this government was in power?
If I remember, it was just 2 months before that it was raised.
It was 2 months before. I'll tell you, 2 months before we took it up, because our channel is 2 months old, Niranjan Shetty. The problem is a lot older than that.
There is no session been held in between.
In the last 2 years, there have been no sessions held in Maharashtra state?
I'm not speaking of 2 years. I'm speaking of just which was mentioned with your channel on this, and later on we spoke to the minister also.
Avisha, how old is this problem?
No, Mr. Shetty, I think the government is not serious about it, because you do not even know that what laws are.
If my government wasn't serious, then we wouldn't have formed that
committee. No, because you don't even know that there are already the laws existing. You are saying that you need to have session, you need to have new law. There is no need. There is no need. I am telling you on the basis of
anything that needs to be changed, an amendment is required.
It is not required. Before that also, I am giving you an example. In 2009, 2011, we have won the case, which is a private unaided minority institution. There is a law available. And that is why on the basis of that law we have won this case. So Bombay High Court has ruled because of that existing law. How can you say that law is not there? You do not want to look at that law which is not favoring management.
It would be very unfair on your part to state that my government is not ready to listen.
I'm telling you, I'm openly giving a challenge. Let me prove that there are the laws which are existing.
Let me tell you, we are here to resolve the issue, not to challenge between each of us.
No,
because at day's end we want that the people, the students who are going into such kind of schools, they get proper teachings and they get a proper, not this kind of swimming pools.
Mr. Shetty, we have Garodia parent here. He says Mr. Taude went there. He said everything is fine, and then now totally about turn. It is happening like that, and that is why we are saying that we need to...
I will only assure you on this channel that not a single student will be expelled or kept out of this.
Still, this has been said last so many days.
I am telling you, I am assuring you on my behalf of my government that not a single child, even who has been expelled, he will stay without going to school.
Niranjan Shetty, okay, hang on. Niranjan Shetty, here is the problem. It is a national level.
No move by any school to our school to expel any child. There's no such move at all. There's no question of doing that. Okay.
There's no way. First of all, let me show Mr. Day I will give you
that we are stakeholders in the welfare of the child. We plan to work on it together. Let's resolve this issue together. There's no way we can ask a child to get a TC or leave the school. It's out of question. We are co-stakeholders in the welfare of the child. And
Mr. Katial, one second. Mr. Katial, what is your response to Niranjan Shetty saying that it is not about swimming pools and it's not about labs, it's about the education? And the Education Ministry doesn't believe that schools that increase fees for swimming pools should be given permissions to continue.
You see, the school is a conglomerate of things. There are classrooms, there are teachers, there are facilities, there are activity rooms, there are EC and CCA activity facilities. All this together makes a school. Of course, the core of the school is academics, where the teachers come in. And every year when teachers come in, more and more experienced teachers come in. In addition to that, there are certain norms on salaries we have to follow. Given all this, we have a certain operational expenditure increase.
How much have you increased the salaries of your teachers this year? What raises have your teachers received this year?
About 8 to 9% has been the average increase of our teacher salaries this year. 8 to 9%.
Can you produce your balance sheets,
and
please?
In addition,
can any one school at least produce the balance sheets and show them to the parents? None of the schools in the country are ready to show their balance sheets, which are always manipulated.
No, hang on.
Whenever we go for any kind of affiliation or permission from Department of Education or CBSE, our balance sheets, our income and expenditure accounts are all seen by the authorities and examined in detail.
Show it
Nothing
to the parents. Parents are paying the fees. Please show it to the parents. The Supreme Court says no capitation, no profiteering. Even your 1% increase has to be provided that you are not profiteering. If your balance sheet shows that you are profiteering, even 1% is not allowed.
Okay, all right. Mr. Katial.
We do not charge any capitation fee, number one.
Mr. Katial, one second, calm down. Mr. Katial, the question that's being asked here is, will you be open to sharing your audited balance sheet with the parents of the school?
Yeah, we can do that. We can share any kind of balance sheet with the parents of the school. We have been sharing with authorities. It is not a hidden document. It is there available. We can share it any point of time. Okay. And please understand that when we talk of any kind of fee increase, we'll back it up with data. There is no issue whatsoever.
All right, I want to bring in some callers. Bhushan is on the phone line from Bangalore. Bhushan, Go ahead.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
1 second. Bhushan is on the phone line from Bangalore. Bhushan, go ahead. Bhushan.
Thanks for the call. I have a concerns on the schools trying to sell the books of particular brand and forcing the parents to buy the books from particular things. My experience currently, like one book which was already in the with the student, when he moves forward next class also he has the same book, but school doesn't bother it. They ask to buy us as a package of that class. So I want to ask Mr. Rajeev that what's this? As the schools are the ambassadors for environment, does that not care about the environment and say that you buy the same book because you have interest in selling?
All right, Deepak Nair is on the phone line from Mumbai. Deepak Nair, go ahead. Deepak Nair, can you hear me? Sunil Chaudhary from Mumbai.
Can I ask a question meanwhile?
All right, we seem to have some problem with our audio again. We'll get that fixed. Let me bring in the rest of our panelists who haven't spoken yet. I want to bring in right now Firoz Bhakt Ahmed, who's a teacher. Firoz, a lot of times when the schools hike their fees, we also hear that that doesn't necessarily translate into a pay hike for teachers. On an average, in your experience, what sort of pay hikes are teachers getting over the last 2 years?
Look here, Mr. D'Souza, the rule says, according to the law, as far as the funds of the schools are concerned, at the end of each year, each educational year, each term, there should not be any, extra funds, any extra reserves. And if there are any reserves, they should be given, actually, they should be adjusted into the salaries of the teachers. I am sure, not all, but most of the schools are not following that rule. There are huge funds at the end of each educational term. There are huge funds, and they are not able to explain. And unfortunately, as heard, whatever that one Mr. Katial was saying, that we need funds for swimming pools, for sports, for this facility, for library, for whatever. It's a huge list. But it is very unfortunate that most of the schools who hike up their fees in the name of these facilities, neither the facilities are given nor the funds are adjusted into the salaries of teachers. We do not know where these funds go. Of course, there are some schools which do justice to the funds, but most of the schools, as I heard some of the parents, and as this lady is also challenging that whether they can show their balance sheets. So they should show their balance sheets. And let me tell you one more thing. You see, it is very shocking that these schools, which they themselves are ill-schooled. They should actually school themselves first before they indulge into these things. I mean, there is no question they should hike the fees. And it is very shocking that some universal school in Bombay, it shunted out 100 schools. And through your channel, I would like to request the management of that school, also the Minister of Education, HRD, that these students should be taken back immediately without any preconditions. I mean, no hike in fees, and whatever the fees they have been paying, the students must be taken back. And unfortunately, there's a nexus between other schools. The students who have been shunted out from that particular universal school or global Indian school, whatever school, I do not know. I mean, this is very unfortunate in a country like India.
Right. Okay. Let me also bring in Neeraj Bhatnagar.
This is very unfortunate.
Neeraj Bhatnagar is a parent of the DPS Ghaziabad School, which actually expels students as well. Neeraj Bhatnagar, my disappointment right now is with the Union HRD Ministry, because we had the minister come out in April and say that this is wrong, and since then we haven't heard from him.
Since last 1 year, I am fighting for justice for my daughter. Last year in August, my daughter was expelled by DPS Ghaziabad, but nobody. Till today, I am fighting in CBSE, I am fighting for NCPCR, I am fighting in Ministry of HRD, State Government, DIUS, JD, Joint Director Education, but nobody is ready to take action against the school, because I think all the private school under the umbrella of the politicians, all the political parties giving backup to that their schools, and every school like Om Pathak DPSG, the chairman of Om Pathak belongs to BJP. And the latest judgment of Supreme Court, where Supreme Court clearly told that the result of the verification of the account, since School have bought a 7 acres farmhouse outside Delhi. School has another bought a flat in outside Delhi. So these kind of facilities, talking about the swimming pool and the farmhouse outside Delhi, farmhouse in somewhere else, this is what the reason they want to hike fees. They never disclose their account. We asking them regularly on regular basis, please show your account, please show your account, but nobody is ready to show their account.
So this is something a lot of parents have alleged, that the police, that nobody comes to their aid. When they go to the education department, they don't get help. When they approach politicians, they don't get help. Biju Nambiar of Garodia International School had a similar story to share with us. Have you got any help since then? You approached a politician in Mumbai who was not able to help you or refused to help you. Do you also agree with what Neeraj Bhatnagar is saying, that politicians are normally hand in glove with the owners of these schools?
It seems so, Faye, the way things are going ahead. So I'll give you the latest update on Garodia International. The school has been in the news largely for the last 2 months. Basically, the case is that they've been running the IGCSE curriculum in a building which was meant for the ICSE. And there was another building that was coming up close by, which was originally meant for IGCSE. But now that
they've closed once, they're forcing students to move to the new school, and a percentage of hike is ridiculous.
Now the latest update is that on 27th of May, Mr. Vinod Taude personally came to Garodia Nagar in Ghatkopar, and all the prominent politicians were there with him. Mr. Prakash Mehta, Mr. Parag Shah, Mrs. Bindu Trivedi, all of these people were there. They had a meeting in Lavender Bagh, and they addressed all the parents, and very clearly and categorically they said everything that Garodia International is doing is wrong, it's illegal, and they gave a complete assurance to all parents that action will be taken against the school within 7 days. Now this happened on 27th May. Within 2 weeks, just a matter of 2 weeks, yesterday there was a meeting held in the office of the Deputy Director of Education, Mr. Chavan, and Mr. Taudi was present, Mr. Prakash Mehta was present, the entire management trustee of Garodia International was present, Mr. Mahesh Garodia, Mr. Nishant Garodia, Raja Hirani, and all the parents. Can you believe there was a complete U-turn? Complete U-turn on both these aspects. The government, wherever they were saying that the school is illegal, suddenly they are saying it's all okay. And wherever they said they will take action, there is absolutely no action. No action is going to be taken. I just want to quickly list out at least 8 points.
No, but let Niranjan Shetty respond to that first. Niranjan Shetty, you said the government is serious about this. First of all, I mean, you still haven't given me a possible answer to why the Union Ministry has not taken any action at all. But it seems like here, politicians are vested in these schools and the owners of these schools, which is why no action is taken. What is your response to that, Niranjan?
I fail to understand the allegation that has been leveled against the politician, especially at this juncture like Prakash Mehta, Vinod Taude or Mr. Parag Shah or Bindu Trivedi. It's very unfortunate. I think the parents should understand that whatever she is stating on the national channel, she should understand what she is speaking.
Well, let me point out to you that this parent has been battling this cause for a fairly long time.
I fully respect that. But what I am trying to say, that's what I am saying. Do you feel that the politicians of BJP,
whatever she is stating, this is a fact. This is true. Parents have been suffering.
They have come.
Their words have been thrown out.
If at all the meeting was held, it was in the larger interest of the parents. It's not in favor of the
but where is the
parents? You are throwing
suppose you have to understand,
throwing out students.
All
very
the action that needs to be done, it has to be done within a legitimate frame.
What is this legitimate frame? What is this legitimate? You know what? Let me point out to you. Niranjan Shetty. You said this you made this point of a legitimate frame the last time you came on the show. This is not the first time you're on this show. We've had other BJP representatives.
What happened before Mr. Deputy Director, Mr. Chavan? I do not know what was the discussion. Now coming to a conclusion that
you tell me this, if
we are asking questions, where is this U-turn coming from? Where is this U-turn coming from? You said the school is illegal and will take action. All of a sudden you are saying what they are doing is not wrong and no action will be taken. Where is this U-turn coming from?
Where?
If you can answer that,
no action
please
will be taken. Who? I do not know. As Mr. Chavan,
if you don't know, please do not comment. There is somebody here who stated
I'm not commenting. I'm asking you that whether Mr. Chavan told you that he is not going to take any action.
This is not Mr. Chavan. Mr. Taude was there and he actually told the parents, legally I cannot do anything more. I think maybe Avisha can throw light on this. He said legally he cannot do anything more and what the school is doing is okay.
See, these are out of the purview of the state government. The CBSE board, once they take the NOC,
so the
no
CBSE board,
it is absolutely wrong.
At the most, that's what I'm trying to say.
Wrong.
Let me point out one thing.
That's what
you are running away from taking the
Niranjan
responsibility.
See,
I will prove you legally how you can.
Let me state something. Can you give me just a couple of
seconds? Okay, everybody just calm down. Everybody just calm down for a second. Niranjan Shetty. Niranjan Shetty.
Apart from CBSE,
don't threaten the parents.
One second. Mr. Shetty, make them available.
Everybody just calm down. Stop attacking each other. Niranjan Shetty, calm down. Calm down. The CBSE board that you are mentioning, Niranjan Shetty, reports directly and solely to the Union HRD Ministry. They have only one boss, and that is the Union Minister of HRD. You are telling me state government cannot regulate CBSE board. The Union government can do it. Why is it that the Union government is doing absolutely nothing?
No, that's what I'm saying. Before we began, I spoke, and last time also I remember I spoke that some amendment needs to be done into the Fee Regulation Act, apart from that, let me complete. And about the universal school, what I'm trying to say is, any student, no students will be left outside without going to school. That's what I'm trying to assure you on this channel.
See, this is let me just one second.
As far as you're saying, see what Mr. Vinod Taude said, that he was not able to take action because of these laws into the existence.
No,
so basically,
yes,
at the extreme step, see the extreme step we can do is we can take away their NOC. But there,
what sort of solution is that? If you take away the NOC, where will the students go?
Let me challenge this gentleman who is speaking the language of politics.
Okay, one second. Everybody. One second. Everybody, one second. I just want to bring in Aashish Naredi as well. One second, Niranjan Shetty.
No, he is an opportunity to be heard.
Okay, Niranjan Shetty, one second. Everybody calm down. I want to bring in Aashish Naredi as well. And I'm very amused at the fact... One second, one second, everyone calm down. I'm very amused by the fact that the government keeps telling us that they need time. You've already had 3 years both at the state and the centre. You should have by now figured out a solution. How much more time will you need? You just need time till June, until all parents are forced to pay the fees because they don't have a choice. That's the time you're talking about. So these schools now have another free hand for a full year to charge whatever they want to charge. Aashish Naredi of the Hyderabad School Parents Association, what is the problem you're facing in Hyderabad?
See, the problem in Hyderabad is not very different to what it is there across India. The kind of statements that are being made by the BJP spokesperson there are the kind of statements we hear everywhere. And it's that we don't have jurisdiction, we don't have power. Let me tell you, it's all humbug. It's false. The basic duty that parents have had to do across India, and what we've done certainly in Telangana as well, is that we've got to first educate the education department. There is no one, or there was no one rather here in Telangana in the education department who was aware of the entire gamut of laws which are applicable to schools. Statements were made in a ham-handed nature, left, right and center, without any information. The most basic statement which comes out is that we have no jurisdiction over CBSE schools. Now this was totally disproved by us. We've given judgments, we've given the acts, and we've actually gone to educate the education department. Thankfully today in Telangana, you would not hear any government official telling that they have no authority over CBSE, ICSE or international schools. That's one minor victory for us. However, the remaining part of the problem continues, which is the government just does not have the will to take action against any school. It is almost as if there is no law, no rule which is applicable to schools. It's like the government is making rules, it's applicable to all except the schools. That's the situation that we find in Telangana. the government formed a committee way back in November to suggest fee regulatory mechanism. The committee submitted a report, the GO was to be issued and fee regulation would have ended there. However, the school's lobby, and in the words of the ministers of the government itself, they tell us, do remember who you are dealing against. You are dealing against the most powerful lobby in the state of Telangana. So the school lobby had their influence and the government formed another committee. That committee was to submit a report on April 20th, which got extended to May 15th, which got extended to May 31st, and which has again been extended to June 30th. So it's like the typical case where committees are formed not to seek a solution, but to delay a solution on some pretext or the other. That's the situation in Telangana here.
Right, and this is something we've seen across the country, basically, the lack of political will to actually do something about it. We get lip service from every state. Let me point out to you viewers that this is across the country. Every state, every kind of political party, every kind of politician turns around and says, of course we're serious about parents, but actually stands the side of the school repeatedly. Because if the government was actually, like Niranjan Shetty says, serious about solving this problem, we would have had some action by now. No action has been taken that's actually moving in the right direction. Sangyukta Chatterjee is on the phone line from Kolkata. Sangyukta, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, very good evening
Allow
to
me to
you
come
all.
back after the phone call. There's something very important.
Yes, I'll come back to the panel. I just want to hear who's on the phone right now. Go ahead. Ms. Chatterjee, go ahead.
Hi, very good afternoon. Good evening to everybody.
Yes.
I'm calling from Kolkata. My son is studying in Phelan World School, Kolkata. That's a residential school. It was being told to us that we have 1 lakh security deposit, which will be refunded to us once the once my son get over with the board examination. But till now, we haven't got the security deposit, 1 lakh rupees. And in manner of that, they're saying we'll just get them near of 20,000. Then I asked the school, could you please be precise? Why will get the 20,000? What about the 1 lakh? They said they have done some auditing and all this stuff. Then I said, do you mind showing us? And they refused to that. And apart from that, my son has given an O-level examination and all the bills, all the money was done, everything was being cleared out. Apart from that, they charged again 25,000 extra, which was not known to us. And we were being again told, this money would have been refunded. But still now nothing
has happened. And this is Kolkata. All right. Mahesh Babu is on the phone line as well. Mahesh is on the phone line from Bangalore. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, the debate is, centered around Mumbai, but this is same everywhere, even here in Bangalore. There are a few points that I would like to raise, right? I mean,
yes.
State government over here also says, this doesn't come under the purview of state and whatnot, right? And they are saying they are trying to formulate the regulation and what, which is, just delaying. But just do a simple Google search and you will come to know that Supreme Court has passed a judgment that all the schools come under the purview of state government, and the state government can dictate, can direct them, can ask them to do whatever, and stop them from doing whatever wrong they are doing. Right. Number two, the question to Mr. Katial: if you are raising the salary of your teachers just by 8 and 9%, what gives you? What makes you raise the fee hike by 15 to 25%? Right. Number three. Nowadays, the schools are throwing the stationery.
Let me
stationery.
Okay, you finish first. You finish first.
Right. Please let the people on the phone finish what they're saying.
See, first of all, as I repeatedly am telling you, the fee hike is not
I
more
had
than
some
6 to 9%.
follow-up questions on the gentleman completes.
Yeah, so I'm just saying the fee hike is not more than 6 to 9%, class to class, year to year. There is an increase in the salary of the teachers. There is an increase in the costs incurred in the lease rentals for the school.
Okay, hang on. Let me just point out, Mr. Katial, I have with me something that the parents have sent me. It says Global Indian International School fee schedule 2016-17 compared with 15-16, and there is a marked difference. Your security deposit, which was 17,500, now has gone up as well. Your tuition fees per term 4 months 27,400. Your tuition fee per term 4 months was 25,000. Your annual charges have gone up by 1,000 rupees. The parents seem to disagree with you. Why is there a problem between in the trust factor between parents and school? There seems to be a definite problem. If you're saying the fees have only gone up 6%, why is it parents are not willing to believe you?
See, I am again saying, to Mr. Dey, who is there,
also, one other
that
thing
we are open to dialogue. See, ultimately, we are co-stakeholders in the future of the child, us and the parents.
Sir, can I
One second. Let me just point out that for some reason the most unruly panels we have on this channel happen to be panels about schools.
Last year, it is 1,05,000. It's a 7.7% increase. So where is the question of a 20% increase? It's only a 7.7% increase. Having said that, the parents can meet us and we are open to dialogue.
Now go on.
I would like to...
One second.
All right, sir. So one quick question, Mr. Katial. How do you justify the annual charges that Global Indian is putting up?
Okay, let me respond
also,
here.
Also, sir, when we had visited the school for let me complete my questions.
Sure.
Let me complete my questions, please. The other thing that what we were told by the school when we visited them was that NCERT books would be given. However, when we bought the books from the vendor that you only wanted us to purchase from, we got books which are not NCERT, sir.
Okay, so you know what? Okay, this can go back and forth, and this is about one specific school.
Yeah.
One specific school. 1 second. Hang on.
Please allow me to get
the problem that we're having right now is across the country. Similar complaints from parents across the country. And my point is that the buck stops with the government, whether that's the government of the state or in this case, I believe it should be the government at the center that needs to take cognizance of what is happening. How can we have a similar problem that has popped up blanket across the country and no answer at all from the government of India? We have to have the Union HRD Minister has to take cognizance and has to take steps right now as to why no changes are being made. Firoz Bhakt Ahmed, is it not important that the CBSE board, which reports to the ministry in Delhi, actually bring out regulations on how their schools ought to function?
Absolutely fair. And I heard, the BJP representative and also Mr. Katial. So I could just conclude that both of them were speaking the same language. Of course, trying to do justice to their chairs. Mr. The representative from BJP, he was trying to save his chair. He was trying to be politically correct. In the same way, Mr. Katial was also doing these things. And having heard these parents, I am also a parent myself. Having heard all these parents, I could come to know that these schools in the states, they are just passing the buck over to the government. They are saying no, CBSE should do everything, and the CBSE says, as per the Supreme Court order, that the states have full authority to run the schools, to manage the schools. Now this is a very serious thing. It is a question of so many students in the country. If this system is not going to school itself on the right lines, if the system of education is not going to school itself, educate itself, then you see it can mean something which can be terrible. It's something devilish. So what I feel is that as far as CBSE is concerned, it must put his foot down. Earlier also, while the results were being delayed, so we just requested Mr. Prakash Javadekar, the Honorable Minister of Education, he should just somewhere he should take care of these things. He should take interest in these educational matters rather than political ones, because this is a question of young children's lives. And if he is not going to do it, this will mean something disastrous. And having heard the BJP representative, I felt very disappointed.
Right, Avisha Kulkarni.
And also having heard Mr. Katial, I felt very upset. If education is going that way,
all right. Avisha,
I would like to just say, Mr. Katial and all other managements, you are saying that you are building swimming pool or a building or a dance studio or anything. How much does it cost? And this cost you have to spread it over to, because that will last for next at least 20 years. And teacher's salary, you have 100 teachers, you have 2,000 children. So in what proportion you are increasing? Plus, every year 2,000 students
please
for next 20 years, and those 20 years you will be charging this height fee. What will be the cost of the swimming pool? Crores and crores of rupees. A simple mathematics, all managements have to do that proportionate. Are you distributing 15 lakhs for swimming pool? 15 lakhs you have to divide into 2,000 students over the period of 20 years, and then what will be the cost of that swimming pool? Whom are you fooling?
When I'm referring to the increase in cost, when I'm referring to the increase in cost, I am talking about operational expenses. These pertain to multiple expenses, relate to salaries, relate to lease rentals, relate to administrative costs. All these costs I'm talking about. And these are fairly substantial costs.
The law does not permit you to take the lease rental. The law does not permit you to take lease rental. How can you openly say on the national television that you are charging for the lease rental? There is a judgment.
We, ma'am, are paying lease rental. We are paying lease rental. We are not charging. We are paying lease rental.
As per the law, if you, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, Maharashtra Prohibition of Capitation Act, Section 4(2)(b) categorically does not permit you to take the lease rent. You cannot take it. There is a judgment on that.
We do not take lease rent from the students. We pay lease rent to the person who owns the building and the land.
So you are saying that we are paying, that's why you are taking it from the fees. But which is not permissible.
It is part of our cost.
Please take the law in consideration, Mr. Katial.
Devendra Singh is on the phone line from Bangalore. Devendra Singh, go ahead.
Well, my eldest son used to study in Ryan School, and and this year, my younger son has started studying in Ryan School in Yelahanka in Bangalore.
Yes.
But the fees are so high, we couldn't afford to send my eldest son to school. So what we had to do is we had to take him out and put him for open schooling and National Institute Open School. Now, I don't understand. Every year the school increases the fees to such an extent. It becomes so difficult for parents who got 2 children or more than 2 children to educate them there. And the school increases the fees, and I don't see anything happening in the school. The school is in such a bad state. You see, the toilets are in a horrible state. In fact, I had to go and tell them, why don't you use Harpic and clean the toilets and all.
So there's no accountability. Devendra Singh is making the same point that there's no accountability. There's an increase in fees. Gopal is on the phone line from Mumbai. Gopal, very quickly, go ahead.
Hi, I just need to say this. Whenever I don't have a kid, but I have seen my sisters, I have seen my brothers. They've got the kids. They all spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees on their education. I want the government to be accountable. When I was doing my schooling from St. Thomas, Goregaon, my school fees were like 5 rupees or 10 rupees. It was a government-aided school, and the facilities were awesome there. But these days, I don't see the government spending and maintaining schools that well. Me as a parent, maybe tomorrow I might become a parent, and then I would like to send my ward to a government school. But I need that kind of assurance from the government. It should be made mandatory for the ministers and everyone to send their wards to these government schools.
Right, Aashish Naredi in Hyderabad. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, and I'm sorry I was trying to interrupt because there was something very significant that I wanted to share. Now, we've had a lot of questions raised in today's debate and earlier debates as well in terms of what is the profitability of the schools, what is the percentage which is paid as salaries, what is the profit that the schools make. And we had a very significant event in Hyderabad on June 9th, wherein for the first time, our organization accessed the balance sheets of several schools, and we've given with full proofs what is the profitability of the schools. The kind of excuses that the gentleman from Global International School, Mr. Katial, I think he was giving, are given by schools in Hyderabad as well. And the facts found in the balance sheets are there with me. I got a copy of the balance sheet with me here. You will be shocked to know that there is a school which has a fixed deposit of 30 crores with it. It has invested 8 crores in its sister concerns in gas companies, in power companies, in hotels and mutual funds, pays only 15% of its revenue as salaries to its teachers, and this school increased the fees from 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs, a 50% increase on the pretext that it has got to pay the high salaries of the teachers. So like Mr. Katial says, these are all motherhood statements that we've got to increase fees because
absolutely. And you know, Aashish Naredi is very right about the fact that all we need to see are the audited accounts of the school. Make the audited accounts of your school public. Show the parents where the money is going. That's all the parents are asking.
Correct.
They're not saying don't increase the fees. They're not saying don't put in a swimming pool. Just show
Correct.
us. And Indian parents are very intelligent in the middle class. They can read a balance sheet very, very well. Any school, they can find out where that balance sheet, where the money is actually going. And I want to, before we run out of time, I want to take this question one more time back to the representative of the government. Mr. Niranjan Shetty, my question is this. Why is it that the Union HRD Ministry is not showing any activity at all, when obviously the problem is national?
Tell him to ask the Honourable Minister that the schools should be transparent regarding their balance sheets.
Niranjan Shetty.
And it is also said first of all, this gentleman who had specifically mentioned that we are on
not only should
I myself and Katial is on the same page. I would like to refute that allegation, number one. Number two, as you rightly said, such kinds of audited reports should be there. Fair enough. I will take up this issue, really mention this to the Union HRD.
You said this last time also.
Apart from that, now let me complete. I think we are on the panel. Let us be heard. You should listen. I heard what you said.
You go on.
Allow me to speak.
Go on,
now, secondly, when we are discussing this, as far as Mr. Katial is concerned, I am not saying that stern action will be taken, but before taking any stern action, we will be giving an opportunity to be heard so that tomorrow when he goes before the court, he does not win and come back again. So basically, we are going to take the most sternest of the sternest action. All these people like Mr. Katial, who is running this biased institute.
One second. Niranjan Shetty. Let me point out to Niranjan Shetty. You are not answering my question. You are making sweeping statements. You are targeting Mr. Katial right now, who is just one school represented here. Don't make sweeping statements saying stern action. You know what stern action has been taken by the state government? One second. The state government has turned around. One second.
It has to be within a legitimate.
Your state government has turned around and said we will give money for 82 students. Are you going to pay for all students across the state? Is that the solution? What a weak solution to offer. 100 students have been expelled. Only 82 students will be given cash to actually go back to school. The government seem completely unable to do their jobs. What is the job? Please, Niranjan Shetty, explain to me what is the job of an education ministry or the HRD ministry? Define to me what HRD ministry means. What is the job of the HRD minister? Please explain to me.
Faye, these are the policies and the acts that was promulgated even before our government came into existence. So an amendment is required.
How much are you going to blame on the previous government? What was your government doing for 3 years?
So whatever
to resolve the issue, how much time you need?
It has to be done in a legitimate manner.
Please stop lying to me.
I am in Delhi. I met Mr. Pradhan.
Stop lying to me. This government has been in power for 3 years. 3 years.
Much more aware that if they do such kind of thing, see, and secondly, there is also the second side of this phase. You have to understand that even when we send the students, we are very well aware of which school we are sending. So these are the people who have come for the profiting business, just claiming to be themselves to be doing.
Okay, this is completely pointless. This is completely pointless. I want everybody to stop 1 second. Let me tell you why it's pointless. Let me tell you why it's pointless. Let me tell you that the middle class parent in this country is extremely intelligent. Most of them hold jobs. Most of them can read newspapers. Most of them can read balance sheets, and none of them are falling for the lip service that either the schools or the government have been giving them for the last several years. These are the justifications that the state government has given us. We will give the money for 82 students to be sent back to school out of the 100 that have been expelled. What happens to the remaining, we still don't know. That is not a solution. You cannot be parting with money as a government to send children who are expelled back to school. Your job is to regulate. Please do your job. We will cancel licenses of the school. This is not a solution. What will the rest of the students do if you cancel the license of the school? Please think these responses through before you offer it to us. We will hear the side of the story of the school. We need time. You've had enough time. 3 years is a long time for any of the governments right now. State government or central government, you should have done more. You should have done better by this point. Go to other schools. Why do you want to go to schools with swimming pools in them? Let me point out to the government, this is a problem caused by various governments. I am not blaming it on the current government or the previous government. The problem is our school system, our education system is crumbling around our ears. Children are confused. They are not getting a proper education. Parents are paying unreasonable fees across the board. Even if parents pull their children out of these so-called CBSE schools and send them to different schools, at every level the schools are too expensive, they're badly managed and they're not regulated. And if the problem is that they're not regulated, it points only to the governments. The failure here is solely of the government. The failure is solely of accountability. We've brought this up in such a frustrating manner for so many months. Zero action from the government. Zero action from the government. So disappointing. If you were worried about losing votes, you would have done a better job. If parents mattered, opposition parties would have at least gotten involved in this battle. Nobody is interested because the middle class doesn't matter in this country. We're too few in numbers. We already pay our taxes. There's nothing to be gained from winning the votes of the middle class, and that's the truth. But we'll continue to fight on this channel and we will not let it go. Thanks for watching.